We are understanding the great text written by a great master hardly in 12th century. And he said that meditation is a state of consciousness. It is a state of awareness. We already know choiceless awareness. Choiceless awareness, yes, I understand it. You understand it. So that is why you are so busy. That is why you have a lot of things to do. That is why, that is why I don't have a time for contemplation and reflection. You see, there is a difference between understanding and realization. I understand intellectually. Thanks God, the animals do not understand, so that they do not attend the session. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That is infinite, which hides behind the name in the form. So, because that is the ultimate cause, hence, whatever is the manifestation is also infinite. Space is a manifestation of that consciousness. How many objects you can house in that space? Infinite. How many droplets in the ocean? Infinite. So that is the message the master gives. Can I live into that state of infinity? It is choiceless awareness. That is why the master says in the first line of this mantra that is infinite. Hence, this is also infinite. Because I find myself limited with the body mind complex. But the moment I have an experience and a realization that I'm not the body and mind complex, I'm also infinite. So that is infinite, this is infinite. This is infinite. So Master says that you cannot have the infinite must proceed from the infinite. Infinity. I gave an example of the sky. So what happens to me due to delusion and ignorance? We are confused and then we find ourselves limited. The moment we find ourselves limited, it is the work of the false eye, and the false eye takes over. Sunlight, mirror is the mind, reflects there, it is limited. That reflection is limited, but the sunlight is infinite. That is the message. Why I have chosen this mantra, but that is the entire message of this text, this teaching. The line, the third line says Purnasya Purnamadai, taking the infinitude of the infinite universe. It remains as the infinite alone. The summary is that once I recognize and realize that I am the consciousness, I will continue to live into that state. But be very clear, are you learning anything new? Answer is big no, not at all. I should have created some program in a workshop claiming that I created something new. The moment I say I have created something new, I am talking to you with the standpoint of the false I, and it will not help. Whether it is helping you or not, I don't know. So, no intention to express that I have created anything new. Whether we call it choiceless awareness, you call witness consciousness, it is not that. Everything is absolutely written in the cream of the text. Look at the simple way. We have been sleeping, waking, and dreaming. Is it not simple to recognize that I'm different and separate from these three: waking, dreaming, and sleep? Can I not conclude that I'm not the body and the mind? But what happens after the session? The mind says, I have a lot of things to do, and I forget myself. I cannot live into that witness or a choiceless awareness, which is meditation. Which is meditation. What it means, it is also known as awakening. So my intellect should find out what is uncreated. Did anyone create this space? Answer is no. So can I say that space is uncreated, unborn, eternal, just for the sake of metaphor? What is created is always limited, and it is limited by my understanding of the name and the form. So when we live into the knowledge and understanding and awareness, I can still see. It's the same thing, same example. The wave is nothing but the water. But what about my perception? My perception is deluded. Hence, I recognize the wave is a part. It is created, it dissolves. Body is created, it dissolves. Mind is created, it dissolves. So whatever is created has a beginning, has an end. But that consciousness is uncreated, has no beginning, no end. Then who am I? I am that consciousness. I am that consciousness. The more question is, do I apply this teaching in my daily life, or I have separated the spiritual and the material life? That very separation is the job of my false ego. And that is why I am not able to think, speak, and act in that manner. That causes another problem. That causes why? It creates a big gap. Oh, I have a lot of stress, so let me attend this session, relax myself, enter into the world to receive the stress, and again, same stuff. Every day we are moving into the same stuff. We are not taking this knowledge in my transactional reality. Let us understand a very important point. All rivers ultimately merge into an ocean. That is what we say. What river contains the water? What the ocean contains the water? What is merging? What is merging after? Nothing. Water is water. Whether it belongs to the river, it belongs to an ocean. So what happens? I recognize that delusion of the name and the form of a river is gone. Nothing is merging. Water is water. That name and the form created by the body-mind complex is gone. Consciousness is conscious. Are you getting it? Do you see that? Name in the form. This name in the form. That name in the form. This name in the form. That name in the form depends on the water, any river. Nile, Amazon River, Nile River. Same way, this body and mind, name in the form of this individual, and that individual, depends on the consciousness. But the consciousness does not depend on any name in the form. It demands a not only constant understanding, but application. Application. So when I sit, I just say, I give my own interpretation and expression based on the same principles. Again, I'm saying, look at it. River, Amazon River. It travels a long distance and it merges into an ocean. What is merging? It loses its limited identity of the name and the form. Do I dare to lose my identity internally? I'm the same consciousness. I'm the infinite. I'm the infinite. If I don't use and apply in my daily life, nothing is going to happen. Then I will listen. I will have an intellectual understanding. That is all. And that intellectual understanding is not being assimilated and digested by the mind, so that the impurities of the mind is also not going. So after every session, I will go back to my limited identity and I will start living into the same stress, duality, and conflict. See from the other point of view. Because, I have to talk about the new verses that we are absolute existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is why we are Satchitanand. So we are understanding how we are Satchitanand. There should not be any doubt. Take a simple example. You are suffering from some illness. What do you want? We want the illness must go. Or do you want that I must go? Eh? Do you want I must go because I'm suffering from this illness? Or you want the disease must go? That disease is the delusion. First thing. Animals can't think. That's why they are not attending this session. Now, see, another question is very important. Why I want the disease must go? Because I want to exist. I want to continue to exist. That is existence. Do you see? I meet with an accident. Limbs are gone. I'm in the hospital. I want to continue to exist. My illness will go. And that illness is the delusion here. That illness is the limited identity created by the body mind complex. From where that desire comes that I should continue to exist. That is what the existence is. And the disease is the delusion, confusion, ignorance, and the impurity of the mind. If it goes away, we are there. But we pick up the same thing after the session. We don't want to apply it. How do you apply? By thought, by speech, and by action. Interest, so that it will help your mind to purify. That is what the master is saying. Look at it. Or you see, take an example. Here is a disease. I am an individual. That itself is a delusion. That itself is a disease. What our masters are saying, Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge that will remove this delusion. I gave an example of river. Nothing, we say it, river merges into an ocean. Then it becomes an ocean. You don't say it's an Amazon river. We don't say it is a Mississippi River. We say it's an ocean. Water is the same. So what we lost, our false identity, Amazon River, name in the form, depends on the water, depends on the consciousness. Consciousness does not depend on any name in the form. But any name in the form depends on the consciousness. So in the very beginning, whatever we experience through the senses in the mind, in the waking state, we always experience the objective reality. We don't have an idea and understanding of the subjective reality, and there the Eastern wisdom comes as an instrument of knowledge. We have to prove. I have given that same example. Take an example. I gave an example of the triangle. The sum of all the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. You can create this triangle in millions of ways. And still the sum is 180 degrees. Why I said so? I'm suffering, still I can reach to that state. My body is healthy, still I can reach to the same state. This is what the master is saying. you are, they say that daily living. You hear something from your honey, internally it creates a reaction. There you have to prove sum of all the angles is 180 degrees. Even in this very situation, this event is dependent on the consciousness. Consciousness does not depend on this event. You are free. Instantly you are free. That is where the is the application of this. We don't want to apply it. It is because of the delusion. We want to go back to the same stuff again. I will talk later. So we have some do's and don'ts in our social, family, personal life. Very clear. We are living in a society. That do's and don'ts is called the dharma in spiritual life. Dharma is nothing to do with the religion. Why do's and don'ts? Because I have a reaction inside. I have to get rid of this reaction because it is hiding my real self. It is not that you will be upset if I react, or you will not love me if I react. No, it has to do with the subjective reality. That is known as the dharma. Buddha says, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. So when this Eastern wisdom went to the West, we have given a name. Our Western people has named the name is a religion. No, it has nothing to do with the religion. So what Dhamma we have covered in the first two verses, what it prepares the mind, salutations to the master. Who is the master? You have to be very clear. Who is the guru and who is the teacher? No, it is knowledge only. It begins with the humility, it begins with the respect to the teacher of name and the form, but it should take my intellect deeper within me. That now my mind is focused on the knowledge. That is why I asked my master that when you will die, what will happen? He said, Guru never dies, knowledge never dies. We have to evolve and raise our awareness that this knowledge never dies. Many teachers of name and form will come and go. So we have a salutation in the beginning in order to get rid of it. The salutation brings that sense of commitment. Why it brings the commitment? Crocodile of delusion. Do you remember? That is the first verse we have done. I'm not talking of 360-degree understanding. You already know it. Then you see in a symbolic way, the master says, pair of lotus feet of a teacher for those whose minds are purified through the service. Service means that I contemplate and reflect until I reach to a level of awareness where all the conflicts of the mind are gone. That is the meaning. And we follow mechanically, it will not going to help. It is not going to help. And that is why, Ashok, that is not going to help. That is why it is happening. That is, you are still with me. So once we have that intellectual understanding with the field of awareness, then the master says variety of objects, variety of experiences. Only I experience, and that I is consciousness. Is it not so simple to understand? I experience the reaction because of interaction with you. I experience the pleasure, variety of objects, variety of experiences, whether it's a reaction, whether it's an anxiety, whether it's a pleasure, waking state. Whether I like pasta, whether I like chicken, two objects, two sense of experiences. I is the same. Can I live into that state of awareness? After the session, can I live into the same state of awareness? I have a lot of things to do. That is causing you the disease and the disease. Do you still remember object of knowledge or knowledge of object? I have to contemplate, sit down. Honey, how are you? Experience in the field of awareness, whether honey of knowledge or knowledge of honey. There and then, I gave an example of this young guy who was going on vacation and his dog is sick. Just find out, dog of knowledge or knowledge of a dog. You will understand. Oh, so simple. All the worries are gone now. Dog of knowledge is inside. Knowledge does not enter into stress and suffering. Do you see that? Knowledge of dog, identification, delusion, ignorance, attachment. I will continue to suffer. What should I do? I go on vacation and still suffering. Have you heard anyone going on vacation and suffering? You're saying honey and you're suffering. Come on. So you see, so apply this in all the three, in the dream state. In the dream state also dream objects, dream experiences, dream body. Waking state, this physical body, this physical mind. This physical body is also an object. Physical mind, the mind is also an object. Object of knowledge or knowledge of an object. Where the knowledge is taking place here. What is knowledge? That knowledge without consciousness cannot take place. And the same thing, absence of knowledge is an object in deep sleep. I think I made it clear. Did you contemplate and reflect? If you have reflected, you will realize what? Absence of an object is also an experience that I experience in the waking state when I return from the sleep. So absence of an object of knowledge. Consciousness is still there. I am still there. I am the pure consciousness. Now the master says, now this master says that what? Understanding your real self, understanding this consciousness. What is this consciousness? For the sake of understanding, it says it has three extensions: existence, consciousness, and bliss. That is the name we gave the name Sat Chit Anand. Even though he is talking about existence, but he said, let us understand. So in the next 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, yeah, 4 verse, he says that we are consciousness. So how to understand that? Existence is there, consciousness is there, and bliss, happiness is there. So we have to, I will go slowly. So first, 7th verse, the meaning of this 7th verse is simple. That consciousness, Master says, that consciousness which we have experienced uniformly, only one in a waking dream in the sleep state, is distinct from all the objects and variety of the experiences of the object, means it is independent. Means what? Means what? In all the three states, there is a homogeneous one consciousness. Compare it. One water in the river and the ocean. Only what happens? Amazon River loses its name in the form, body and the mind. Mississippi River or any river. Can I live into that state, losing this identity? I'm your husband. I'm your wife. How dare you stare at that girl? See, you are staring, so you will fall into delusion. Keep on staring. Continue. Do you see that? That is the beauty of deeper and subtler. And what we are doing, we are making our intellect subtle. Yes, that is also a very important point to understand. Why we are making our intellect very subtle? Real self is the subtlest. What is the impurity of the mind? Body and the mind gives you the gross experiences of the name in the form. Another way to understand, to enter into the choiceless awareness. I'm giving you different facets of understanding. When the intellect becomes subtle, subtlest, picks a point, knowledge is taking place here, which is consciousness, which is existence, which is consciousness, and which is bliss. This is what Master is going to explain. Seventh verse is this. So if I look at the eighth verse, look at the consciousness, the very existence. So we say, the Master says, consciousness is the fundamental reality, while objects are coming and going, river is coming and going. Remember that, while objects are transient appearance within it. From where the Amazon River starts, where it ends, you travel thousands of miles, you still say it is an Amazon River, but it has a transient appearance, temporary appearance. Behind it is water, transient appearance, childhood, birth, childhood, adulthood, adolescence. And now, according to US, we say I'm a senior citizen, 65 now. 75, 80, 85, gone. Transient appearance. This is what the master consciousness is constant. It's present before, during, and after every experience, every appearance. Every appearance. Don't you sometime open the album? Here is my picture, 20 years old, and your friend says, "You look so smart." All your beard is black. Look at it. See, a transient appearance. Consciousness is constant. It's present before, during, and after every appearance. Objects are impermanent. Body and the mind, impermanent. They come and go within our awareness. So there is a misattribution of the reality. We tend to consider objects as a real, and the consciousness is dependent on it. We just do the opposite. Think of it. Why you have abused me? I think consciousness is dependent on you. Once you have an understanding, then you see what happens. So the truth works when we reverse it. Objects of consciousness are consciousness of an object. That is what I have been trying to say. So the cause of the delusion is the knowledge of an object, identification with the body and the mind. We associate our identity. If the water says, here I'm Amazon River, not there. Think, think. For a few minutes, I will settle the score with you because of my false eye. After that, I will become the consciousness. Do you see that? See that reality. That is the meaning of choiceless awareness. Simply just talking, I live in choiceless awareness. I have a lot of anger, and my choiceless awareness is full of anger. It will not work. Anger of consciousness or consciousness of anger. Think. Master says if you don't think, and think means contemplate and reflect. How many times you get upset, reaction, anger, and anxiety today? Spend half an hour, prepare a list, and start contemplating only one thing: stress of object, stress of knowledge, or knowledge of stress. And you'll have a bigger smile on your face. You will realize what exactly is this choiceless awareness. You will know and experience what it means by living in a moment. Think. Because the next three verses are little typical, and even though we have understood 360-degree understanding, but we have not done a lot of practices, which we do in Monday and Thursday's session, preparing ourselves for that. But at the same time, we have to go a little deeper. So you see that our focus is always outside. Oh, I have to acquire knowledge. So what is this? This is an Amazon River. But what about inside, which name and the form hides the essence? How dare you say I'm your husband or wife? You see, essence is hidden, hides. But the husband depends on that essence, wife depends on that essence. Name in the form of Amazon is depends on that essence of water. That is why we say we have to get rid of this attachment and detachment, likes and dislikes and delusion. Then only, then only we know what is this Sat Chit Anand, absolute existence, conscious. Also, you see, when you contemplate and reflect, your mind will try to depict a shape and the name in the shape. There you need to reject it. The reality does not depend on the name in the form. Any name in the form has to undergo a change. Any name in the form takes the birth, grows, and ultimately it dies. That is why the master says, understand carefully. Sat, first word is the Sat, existence. Can you tell me what is the shape of the sense of I am? Tell me. Think. Sense of I am. No, I am here. Oh, means body and mind. Okay. 15 years ago, that body was different. Oh, that I am is the same. Look at it. Oh, when you were born, hardly a few pounds. Sense of I am. This is what the master is pointing out. I have to get rid of the mind from the delusion, from picking up its object. It always tries to pick up the object because it is obsessed with the objective reality. So the sense of I am persists through all the states of the consciousness we have already experienced in the waking dream, in the deep sleep. The existence is not dependent on the body or the mind as it continues. Can I give you another example? Mouse is, our master says, explains beautifully. That isness is the existence, and mouse name and the form depends on that isness. That isness is the existence. I am. That am is the existence, and that I personifies name in the form. It is always there, here and now. It is here and now. Don't we use you just say any sentence, so representing any object. Here is my home. Isness is the existence because of which the home exists. So he's pointing, I'm just giving you some brief references so that we will, in the next lesson, we will talk in detail. So that is the first. But how do I know that existence? Because of the consciousness. So the second attribute of that real self is consciousness. Because without being aware, I cannot be aware of the existence. So we say that existence, not what exists. What exists, name in the form. It will, it has it has no consciousness in it, but it depends on the consciousness. Body and the mind depends on the consciousness. So then what that individual is essentially of the nature of consciousness which illuminates all my experiences. Consciousness is the constant factor with the existence. In all my experiences, while all my experience changes. How my experience changes. I experience wall, I experience you all, I experience the monitor, I experience the speaker. Oh, that speaker is also not you. Yes, it has its objective reality. After the session is over, the speaker has died. Speaker is dead. Listener is dead. That is the example you have need to contemplate. Mouse is isness. Third is the most beautiful thing, that we are of the nature of pure permanent happiness. I gave you one idea. I gave you one idea. I I have a disease. I want to get rid of a disease. Why? Because I want to continue to exist. Ask yourself why I want to continue to exist. Naturally, because I love myself. So, Master gives us a clue. I don't love anyone in the world outside. I love you for the sake of myself. That real self is the object of ultimate love to me. Now we say, no, I'm your soulmate, I love you so much. All false, all in ignorance. If you do not exist, how can you love other? So that is bliss. Bliss means here the permanent. We love ourselves unconditionally and without any cause. So when the mind loves unconditionally without any cause, whom it loves? Body? If your mind says yes, say for example, let me put it on myself. I meet with an accident and my right arm is gone. Do I love my body? Or do I love myself? Who is that? Yourself. Is it the body or something different from the body? I love unconditionally. Haven't you? Sometime I have seen the beggars who don't have any limbs. They are sitting. They are using the limbless body to earn, to get more money. I love myself. I want to continue to exist. Because why? Because I love myself. We seek to preserve our existence at any cost. Why? Because I love myself unconditionally. What is that unconditional love? This is the bliss. So, the real self is nothing but absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. That is what we are. He's going to He's going to take up this logically. Never forget. I told you, never forget. That is why we do the salutation to the teacher. That is why we do the namaste. Why we do the namaste to the teacher? In a class of trigonometry or geometry, he says this is the problem. Sum of all the triangles is 180-degree. Prove it. Follow the process into your intellect so that your intellect becomes subtle. You understand, you realize. That is why we have salutation. That is why we do the namaste. Why? The mind now should be ready to realize the real self. We are real self. We'll continue. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Eyes of knowledge, or if I say eyes of awareness, and see where the mind is going. Eyes of knowledge. Is the knowledge taking place outside? Oh, yeah, if it is taking place outside, take your mind outside, no problem. Be very clear. Sitting of knowledge. I'm simple using the simple term. Sitting of knowledge or knowledge of sitting. Knowledge of sitting will take you Now, in that state of awareness, you are looking at the mind. It picks up the object in the form of a thought, feeling, and emotions. It starts thinking. So, all my thoughts, do you still remember? Thought is equal to object plus knowledge of an object plus false I plus consciousness. Focus, just pay attention there with a contemplation and reflection. No, let me make myself comfortable. You have lost it. Why? Because you experience that I'm uncomfortable. So when I understand this, my body naturally moves into the state of motionlessness. Naturally. Do you see that? Discomfort of the knowledge. But I'm not the body. I'm not the mind who is experiencing this discomfort. Oh, so I'm separate from it, yes. So when I'm separate and at a distance, then I cannot make any other body comfortable. You see, that's the subtlest. That is what I was talking about, the subtlest intellect. That results into a choiceless awareness. Simply saying, oh, I understood choiceless awareness. So remember, any thought, any feeling. Feeling is also a thought because I know I have a feeling. We try to separate it in delusion. Any feeling, any thought is equal to I pick up the object. Pick up the object means I simply become aware of this object, knowledge of an object, false I plus consciousness. That is one approach. Other approach is simply the thought of a knowledge or knowledge of a thought. You see the explanation, the process by which we arrive at the sum of all the triangles of a angles of a triangle is 180 degree. Direct approach, step by step approach is thought, feeling or emotion is equal to object plus knowledge of an object plus false I. So you inquire that who is this I who is saying that I'm experiencing the discomfort? You will instantly realize, oh my goodness, you are still identifying with the body. But without consciousness, false I cannot exist. It depends on the consciousness. Okay, so what happens? You enter into a state of what is known as choiceless awareness. But if you don't do the contemplation every day, you don't experience the change in your life that you are moving into the calmness and the peace and the joy every day. And every day you pick up a sense of anxiety, duality, and a reaction during your entire every day. You analyze, reflect on it. Not possible. If you think I have heard it and I know intellectually, I can explain to you. No, explain to your mind in real life situation. Then only it will work. That's why I say that do you apply these teaching into your life? You see, the mind tends to create a thought, and that thought is of, oh, I'm feeling bored. Why I have to watch all the thought? Boredom of knowledge, not the knowledge of the boredom. If I have a knowledge of boredom, so I will first remove this boredom before I enter into that state. Look at it. I'm using the expressions which you should listen to it maybe millions of times, and then you have to apply the same. You have to use the same thought during the day. If you remember, you will use it. But how you can remember if you are committed to it? How you are committed? Because you are a seeker. You see? So it goes back again to the 360-degree. Boredom of knowledge, boredom, object, experience. Okay. Variety of objects and variety of experiences. I understood. I understood. Mind habitually want to put me into the delusion, and you become an extraordinary attentive. And in that extraordinary awareness, one of the great masters who coined the word choiceless awareness is J. Krishnamurti, the Jiddu Krishnamurti, again hails from India. He says, in an extraordinary awareness, I'm using another word for it. When when you are in the mode of subtler intellect for understanding, he says you are extraordinary aware means that you don't allow any thought in your mind to leave you without screening, without examination. What is that examination? Is it the object of knowledge or knowledge of an object? Or it is object plus knowledge of an object plus false I plus consciousness. J. Krishnamurti, in a way, rightly said, extraordinary awareness. You know each facet. Or if I say the intellect is subtle, so when you are subtle, intellect is subtle, it picks up everything. And you live into that state. Many points to, there is another point. So I'm doing nothing. Still, there is a doership, is there? Even when that doership dissolves, we know what exactly is the choiceless awareness. Mm, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Can you extract from that chanting that you are of the nature of peace? What is the way? Same way. Object of knowledge or knowledge of object. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms. Place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences and bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. How are you, Dennis?
I'm fine, thank you. And my takeaway from today's lesson is that when our focus shifts away from the name and the form, then the real self that is behind this name and the form reveals itself. This is
Yes?
one point, and the other point is when we say I am, then in this statement, the I part is false and the am part is true, because the I always relies on the name and the form, and I is experienced through the name and the form. So it must be false. And the am represents the being that is unchanged and uh, that is expressed as an I.
Beautiful. You explained it further in I am. Mouse is. Whether you say I or mouse is, phone is, computer is. So that isness is the being part. What is being? Uncreated, unborn. It will never die. And that I part in I am or mouse is, that very mouse is a name in the form. But it depends on the consciousness. Consciousness is not depending on this name in the form. Can I live into that awareness? I'm simply saying you intellectually think. I'm going to talk to my honey is. And now talk. You will not feel any kind of loneliness. Loneliness will become alone. What do you mean by alone? Or don't they mean the same thing? No. Alone is equal to all plus one. Loneliness, your mind is running after the objects, expectations, and attachments. How are you, David and Jerry? Randy is in a very deep contemplative mood. We'll share it. First,
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, I love the lesson. Kind of to Dennis's point, I like the quote that I'm going to use. You as the author of the quote is, "Mind is obsessed with the objective reality," and that's very contemplating and will. I think it it just takes away everything that's out there that is created, and it allows us to kind of focus on ourself, the true self, and our consciousness, and it's very freeing. So I had a very short but very good meditation. Thank you.
good, good. You rightly said. You rightly said the mind is obsessed with the objective reality. Now expand it further. Contemplate and reflect further. You made me crazy. You see, mind is obsessed with the objective reality. So now the mind is more focused on you than my experience inside. I'm giving one example. And you can expand this example anywhere whenever you are surrounded by anxiety, duality, and a conflict. You will know how to calm down the mind. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. Deep meditation went by very fast. The mind went right to being and celebrating that joy of being and letting that shine in everything that everywhere. Just let that shine everywhere. And we see it everywhere. We see it in everyone, everything. So
Beautiful. We celebrate an event in our life. We have an immense pleasure before its preparation, during the celebration. But this master says life is celebration. That is the only difference. When it is a celebration, then we continuously live into that state of choiceless awareness. Are you, Samir? Continue contemplating. I'll come back to you. Yes.
Sir, I think everything dissolves in awareness. When you are aware, all problems, all anxiety, everything goes away, and happiness starts coming like a flower is coming in a plant. No, it's like
Yes.
that. If I am aware, but I have to have knowledge for awareness, so that my thoughts and my past impression do not disturb me while I am in awareness.
Yes. When the intellect is the subtlest, how any past impression can take over my intellect? How those gross impressions, it comes from the mind. Mind feeds it constantly. Oh, he's crazy, he reacted, I he and then what happens? Then the intellect takes over that impression. So every time you meet that guy, you have the same impression. So when the intellect is very subtle, it picks up immediately. It lives into that field of awareness. And then it is not a knowledge of an object, it is the object of knowledge. And we are there. Beautifully. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thank you. My meditation was deep, and I think it's because the mind is just exhausted from chasing the objective reality.
Right.
Yeah, you must have worn myself out, I think. But it's the Saturday simple that's not so simple, right? That it's like, what are you going to pick? What are you going to feed? And today's lesson was a good reminder. Thank you.
Yes, yes, it seems very simple. So who says it is simple? The mind. Where the mind at present is, mind is obsessed with the objective reality. Then mind feeds it to the intellect, and intellect fails to contemplate and reflect. Think. The more we think and the more we contemplate and reflect, we recognize, no, I have to live. Why I give lessons? To continue to be into that state, same state all the time. So these lessons which I give to you, I'm a selfish guy. Because it gives me an ability to express the same thing in variety of ways with a variety of people. Why? That is eternal, all-pervading, infinite. So as a teacher, I feel then there must be an infinite ways of expression also, if it is infinite. And I always find it. How are you, Wake?
Thank you, sir. Sir, mine was calm. Is it like that we are recognizing ourselves in the changes that are happening throughout the day. And we see ourselves that we are dependent on these changes. But it is other way around, that we are still there if the change happens or not doesn't happen.
You're right. You're right. That is what he laid a very strong foundation. Master laid a very strong foundation by explaining waking, dream, and the sleep. What is the object in the sleep? Absence of object. As a thought, is just that is. So whether there is an absence of object or presence of an object, that consciousness continues. How do I know that there is no one? Because of consciousness. How I know you are here? Because of consciousness. You're right. So can I live into that? The moment the mind says, I have to settle a score with that one, become aware of that, settle the score, drops and dissolves. The intellect is free. Now you think what I should have said, what I should say. It is gone. Instantly it is gone. But as Brandy says, yes, it looks so simple. How are you, Terry?
I am.
Yes.
I wish I could stay in that state with no impression.
I wish. Who is wishing? Contemplate and reflect on who is wishing, and you will return again into the same state, which already exists. It continues to exist. Amazon River is asking that how long I will remain as an Amazon River, as long as the water is there. Are you Ashok? Oh, your honey is talking to you. Yes, I know. Very good.
सर नमस्ते
Namaste.
सर आज मॉर्निंग में ना मैं भी एक मंत्र का वो यूट्यूब पर देख रहा था ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते तो मैं दिन में कॉन्टेम्पलेट एंड रिफ्लेक्ट भी कर रहा था इस पर तो वह पूर्ण है और यह भी पूर्ण है और पूर्ण में से पूर्ण निकाला जाए तो भी पूर्ण बचता है क्या था मैं भूल गया और पूर्ण में जो पूर्ण जोड़ा था तो भी पूर्ण हो जाता है
और फिर YouTube देखना, जो मैं कह रहा हूँ उसको मत सुनना, दोबारा YouTube देखना और फिर करना, ठीक है? फिर मुझे बता।
नहीं मैं आपका ही तो YouTube पे देख रहा था सर, आई मीन दूसरा कुछ YouTube पे देख रहा था, ठीक है, ओके.
He was watching some YouTube video where this mantra is being chanted. So that is what he is explaining. Continue to watch, but contemplate and reflect. That is more important. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Namaste, sir.